Hey guys, so in this video, I want to show you how you can leverage ChatGPT's brand new image generation model. They've made significant improvements from their old model, and this new model is capable of some pretty insane things. In this video, I'll be showing you 3 of my favorite use cases for this new model. No fluff, extremely tangible, and you can start leveraging these whether you run a creative agency, a design agency, whether you make websites, or if you're just somebody interested in AI and what it can do for you. This video is for you. So stick around until the end and you're going to become an expert on ChatGPT's brand new image generation model. So if you're apprehensive about the credibility of this technology and whether it'll actually stay or if it's just a passing fad, let me show you some articles that I think will really change your mind. So if you look at these icons right here, all these different icons right here, these were designed by Pentagram, which is the world's largest independent design consultancy. So they got contracted by the US government to design this website to track the US government's goals, progress, and whatever. All these designs that you see on the page were generated by a tool called Midjourney, which arguably this brand new image model that we're going to talk about in this video by OpenAI outperforms this tool. Guys, this project involved creating over 1,500 icons, and they used AI for the entirety of the process. And here is a look at every single icon that AI created. Imagine how much time this saved for Pentagon. Another example here, guys, Coca-Cola, one of the biggest companies in the entire world, invites digital artists to create real magic. Very interesting wording there, right? Creating real magic with AI. So that was obviously a very intentional wording choice by Coca-Cola. And this is from 2023. So all of these images were made using the tool I previously talked about, DALL-E. And this new tool that I'm going to show you in this video is 10 to 100 times better than this. Coca-Cola has been using this technology for 2 years now. Just let that sink in. And then the last example I have for you is this Korean restaurant menu right here. Think about all the mom and pop shops, the places with no capital to get off the ground, and they want to have a nice menu. They need to open their restaurant. This streamlines absolutely everything. Look at how detailed this text is. Look at how cool these pictures look. You can get it in whatever style you want, and it takes literally 10 seconds to generate. Now, let me get into the actual examples and show you how you can start leveraging this technology. So let's take a look at this beautiful checklist I've created here to make sure we don't forget about anything that I want to talk about in this video. So the first thing let's tackle here is this photorealistic people, landscapes, and products. I'm going to show you how to generate all 3 of these in ChatGPT. So open up ChatGPT, make sure you are on ChatGPT 4.0 for the image model. This is the one we will need to be using. And then make sure you're probably on the plus plan. I'd say that's a good call. You're going to get way more image generations. And especially if you're somebody who's going to utilize this technology more, that's 100% what you need to be doing. I believe on the free plan, you get 5 to 10 a day, maybe something like that. So let's start with a realistic person here. So here's the first prompt here to generate a realistic person. Generate me an image of an extremely realistic 4K woman standing on a street corner in London, England. I added some detail. I said there needs to be a red bus in the background, but that's not extremely important, just for a little bit of context. So we're going to see, it says getting started. Little spinny circle gets going. Then you'll see the image slowly load in from top to bottom as it generates. Another thing we can do is actually tweak the aspect ratio. So if I said, I want this landscape or vertical, horizontal, vertical, or I want this to be 2400 by 1200 pixels, you can do all those things. It's not extremely reliable yet, but I would play around with those kind of tweaks. So as you can see from the image we've generated, we can see that there's this very nice background blur here. It looks quite good. And the facial details are extremely good. You can see some color on her skin, some wrinkles. It's amazing. Look at her hands. They look so good. Fingers is a thing that the old model would get wrong a lot. You'd see people who had either 3 fingers or 6 fingers, but this is extremely good. So if you can imagine a Zara campaign, right? You could say, now include a Zara logo on the blazer she is wearing. So let me show you that next. So here we have the original image we generated of this lady with the red bus in the background. And this is the one where I said, now include a Zara logo on her blazer, which you can see it did very well. A big problem that the old image model DALL-E had is that its lettering, if you said, generate me the word artificial intelligence, it would mess it up. And so if we compare the first initial image that we generated of this woman with the bus in the background and the second image that I just got back, where all I said was now include a Zara logo on her blazer, you can see it included the Zara logo. It's the exact font. It looks perfect. And we can see that the scene and her hand positioning is basically the exact same. Now, something interesting is if you go back to the first one, you can see she almost looks a little bit younger, a little bit different. And she almost looks a little bit older and more defined in the second one, right? Do you see when I switch back and forth? But she still looks relatively similar. Now, this is something that you can actually get even better if I said, make the woman look completely identical. Do not change her whatsoever. I could have achieved better realism here, but with very minimal prompting, you can get very close character crossover between prompts. So if you were creating an entire ad campaign for Zara, for example, this is something that you could do very easily and have one one AI model throughout the entire campaign. Now, once you get an image, and I'm just going to use the same one as an example, you can access a very powerful tool called selection. So if you click on the image, it'll open up this kind of editor window here. So you can see the preloaded text down here is describe what you want to add, remove, or replace. So it knows that you're referencing this image. It knows what you're talking about. But if you go up to the right-hand corner, you can see this little paintbrush. It says select. So now you have this selection tool where you can kind of paint over the image and then prompt it, and it will know that your prompt is specifically referring to that part of the image. So instead of saying like, oh, the blazer and don't change the bus and fumbling around, what I can do is I can just start highlighting her torso and the blazer here. Cool. So now we kind of have her torso highlighted. Now I can say something like, so I said, now change her coat to something more vibrant and modern. Keep a minimal Zara logo somewhere on the garment. Everything else must remain the same. Now, if we send that off, it knows the highlighted section, so it has even more context on what to edit. Even though we specifically said change her coat to something, I said everything else must remain the exact same. So now, hopefully, we'll get a better character crossover and more character realism throughout our kind of like ad campaign. So now, as you can see, since I specifically highlighted her coat, and you remember this was the first one we generated, this kind of nice black coat with the bigger Zara logo. And this is the brand new one that we got. And the prompt was something more vibrant with a more minimal Zara logo, which it did. And you can see the lettering is still perfect. There's still the white space in the middle of the R and the A, which is very subtle, but an important detail to notice. And this is pretty vibrant. And since I said keep everything else the exact same, meaning her face, the background, the sidewalk, absolutely everything, you can see that her face is actually closer. The wrinkles are the same, and there's more character consistency between these two images. So we're kind of creating like this cool Zara ad campaign, and it's taken, 10 minutes so far? So this is an example of character consistency and background consistency, as well as how much better this model is at creating good lettering on the garment or on anything for that matter. Kind of like the menu example you saw at the beginning of the video. Okay, so we've done photorealistic people, check. Now time to move on to landscapes and products. Guys, this is not like a 30-second YouTube short. As you can see, there are quite a few things left to cover over here, and I'm going to cover all of them. So check the timestamps, check the description. I'm going to have everything listed out so you can skip around the video and make sure you just go to the part that's applicable to you, or watch the whole video. I'd appreciate it. And you'll learn about all these things. Landscapes and products next. All right, so moving on to the landscape prompt now. This is the prompt. You can read it. Let me circle it in red too many times. So this is it. I want a wide angle landscape shot of a rugged valley with scattered sagebrush and tumbleweeds, a weathered wooden saloon, and abandoned wagon in the distance. So I'm adding context. I'm describing to the model what I want. The more nuanced, the better here. Or if you're somebody who just wants a very general shot and you want to let the model, ChatGPT 4o, right? This is the model we're using. If you just want to let the model dictate what's happening in the shot and let its imagination kind of run wild, that's fine as well. But I prefer to give as much detail as possible to control the output and manipulate it as much as I can. So you can even see down here where we get serious is where we say shot with a Canon EOS R5 24 to 70 millimeter f2.8 lens, rich, earthy color palette, and vibrant contrast. So very detailed. Let's send this off. Let's see what we get. Okay, awesome. So this is the image we've gotten back from ChatGPT. There's the old saloon, there's the wagon, there's these tumbleweeds and sagebrush, exactly as we've described. And if you remember in the prompt, we said we wanted a rich contrast, which is exactly what it is delivered in this image. I can tell you from experience, and I'd encourage all of you to go play around and try this yourself. If you just say, I want a 4K photorealistic scene of an old Wild West, from an old Wild West movie, it would be much more vibrant and bright. This is a very tailored output as we've controlled the contrast and we've controlled what we're getting because we gave it a more detailed prompt. So very cool. There is the landscape example. Now we're going to move on to a product example. I've already kind of shown you that with the Zara one. However, this is going to be with a reference image that I upload. So this is probably one of the most tangible, extremely cool use cases. So make sure to pay attention for this one. Okay, so I've literally just gone on to Essence. Shout out Essence, Montreal-based company, very cool company. So I just went on to like the yoga section or whatever and found this beautiful yoga mat that's $295. And we got some good product images of it. So I'm just going to open the image in a new tab right here and then go over to it. So here we have our awesome product. I'm going to copy the image and then we're going to go back to GPT. All right, so we've copied the image, we've pasted it in here. We have this mat right here. We have the prompt. You can see it's a very similar format. However, this time we are making it more set up to be like a very high budget modeling shot for this specific product. So Sony Alpha 1.8 f1 or 1 to 85 millimeter f1.2 lens, vibrant yet natural color grading for high-end editorial feel. So then I'm just going to say reference the product image in the shot. And then I'm going to say the product is a yoga mat, just for more context. And then we'll send that off. We have the reference image here and it's going to do its thing. It's going to whip it up and it's going to create our product shot. So guys, you can imagine the implications of this technology and how good it's going to get in the coming months, years. It's going to be literally indistinguishable from a human photographer, which is pretty scary. But imagine the new workflows that these creative professions are going to get into. So I can imagine somebody like in New York or Paris or wherever going around with their camera or going to a studio, taking pictures with the products laid out, showcasing them with the right lighting, color grading, or like taking a few pictures in front of the Eiffel Tower, for example, as a nice backdrop, and then uploading those to ChatGPT or any of the image generation models out there. And then just say, hey, give it a prompt like this. I need a Parisian-born fitness model standing there modeling this stuff. And the cost over time is going to go so down for these creative shoots that e-commerce companies or people starting out are going to have such an advantage that they kind of didn't have before because they didn't have access to the capital to actually get these models or these studios. You get what I'm saying. So the image is loading in right now and we'll come back when it's done. All right, super cool. So you can see how good this looks. I said have some kettlebells scattered around. And from my prompt, I said that our made up brand is going to be called Vita Forge Athletics. And you can see it's kind of embossed it right on the bottom of the yoga mat here. And it looks identical to our reference image. If we look at these, the pattern is literally the exact same. Well, very close at least. So this is going to be our example for a realistic product shot. You can do what you will with this. Use it with caution. It is very powerful. So now if we move back to the list of truth here, we have this example. Now I put this on the list when I was making this YouTube video or like writing this list, but I don't even know if we need to. I'm just going to put some images up on the screen. This is the Studio Ghibli image. Check. And this is the Pixar, and this is the Rick and Morty image. You don't need to get that crazy with your prompt. You can upload a picture of you, your friends, your parents, whoever, your aunt, your uncle. It's like a fun little party trick to turn them into Pixar. Turn this couple into a Pixar movie style. Like the prompt is pretty easy. You don't have to get that crazy with it. So I've also kind of covered this one, inserting the clean stylized text into images. However, I will demo this one because there's a little bit more to talk about with that. Okay, so I just looked up London City 4K Street. We're just going to copy this, come back in here, paste that image in, and then I'm going to give it a prompt here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how you can take a reference image and add text to the image. All right, so as I've said, take this reference image and add the following text to it by following the instructions carefully. No changes in the environment, lighting, or perspective except for the subtle integration of the word proxy AI written directly on the ground plane. So let's send this off, see what we get here, and let's see how close we get to our actual reference image. So here we have our original image of this London street scene, and then here we have our AI generated image. So if we kind of flick back and forth, we can see that the overall scene is very, very similar, but there are some details missing. This nice tree in the background, this like the actual bus positioning, as well as this van in front. If we go back, that's gone. The van isn't in front of this second bus here. And some of the details are gone naturally. Like it says Skyfall on the bus over here. So I guess this is when Skyfall came out, but that's not there, which is fine because look at how good Proxy AI looks. It's blended in. It has a slick, glossy texture as if it too got rained on. Excuse me. And it just looks amazing. Like this looks so good. So that's how you can take a reference image, give it a good prompt, and then add realistic text to your image. Really, the workflow, guys, is about uploading reference images, multiple, if that fits your use case. The more context the AI model has, the better output you're going to get. Same goes for prompting. The more context, the more specific you can be, the more tailored and accurate your output will be. But again, sometimes you don't want a tailored, accurate output. So it just all depends what you're after. Okay, now I'm going to show you how you can remove objects from photos. So let's try to remove an object from the background of this image. So we have this reference image of me at a wedding, looking like a G. And yeah, I was eating pretty good then. Little beer, a little shakoot. Anyway, all right. So we have that image of me. What can we remove in the background? What about just this guy with the glasses on right behind me? Remove the guy right behind me with the sunglasses on, whose head is peeking over my shoulder. Remove the guy right behind me with the sunglasses on, whose head is peeking over my shoulder. So, I mean, we'll see what we get here. The character consistency with like images of people isn't great, or like reference images of real people isn't great because they have a whole bunch, like OpenAI has a whole bunch of kind of like copyright and deepfake and all these things in place to stop you from cloning people. So it's not going to make me look like me, but that's just something you have to expect with this model. It's one of the many things that open source models do better than closed models, is actually generating realistic images of people. So basically, there's me. Let's see what it creates. Yeah, so I mean, it's funny. It's like, yes, it kind of looks like me. You know, there's kind of a good little side by side. It kind of looks like me, but obviously for the reasons I said before, it is not a carbon copy of me. But you can see how good it's done. Well, the meat kind of looks sus. Pause. But this is a little bit jumbled up. All the like prosciutto, the salami, the beer looks quite good. And again, the hands and the fingers, they look so good on this new model. It's kept these two people behind me. And just as I've specified, it's removed that lad over my shoulder right here. He is completely gone. So that is amazing. And then if you want to change anything further, remember, guys, we have this select tool. You You could select these people and literally just say, like, you could select and you could just say remove. And then just by using remove with no context, it knows what I would like to remove based on the selection I've made. So make sure to use the selection tool. Quite a handy little tool there. So we're not going to do the character consistency right here because this is a great example of that. So as I kind of showed with the Zara model, this one's even better actually. So you can see here is my GPT generated face. And if we go down here, there is the second version after I made the selection on these two people in the back and just said remove. And now they are completely gone. It's filled in that space. You can see it's kept the poll in the back and everything that you specified, right? So it knew exactly what we meant and it looks super good. So you can see the consistency across my face is almost identical. Like we could be twins. Very, very good. So now I'm going to say, now using the same image, change the background to the Amazon rainforest, keep the foreground identical. So this will be a good example of how you can change the background and keep the foreground the exact same. Whoa, now all of a sudden, I'm in the Amazon rainforest. Very cool. Okay, now using the background. Now let's do this one. This one is one of my favorites. It is very, very cool. And this will apply especially to you if you're starting up your own agency. If, as I said, if you create websites, if you create ads, this is extremely cool. So let me show you this one right now. So what I looked up on Google Images was just Blender texture spheres PNG. And then you see you have glass ones, other ones. If you just look up like textures PNG, should be fine. But I found this kind of cool, like, I don't know, brown leather one here. So if I copy this, come back, paste this one in, and then it's hard to see, but the Proxy P logo, my agency's logo right there. So I can say something like, so take the texture image and combine it with the P logo. We want to make the P logo brighter, more vibrant, and have that texture. So I'm going to kill two birds with one stone here. I'm going to show you how to do this one right here, the applying textures, changing backgrounds, which we've done. So we can check that off. And then we're not going to do the main character, and then generate images with transparent backgrounds. I'm going to check this off as well, because what you can say here is you can say, make it a PNG. And by saying make it a PNG, you're telling ChatGPT to make an image with a transparent background. So that's especially useful if you're doing like slide decks, PowerPoints, anything of that nature. You can just slap this in and Bob's your uncle, perfect. It'll get it done. So it's generating. We'll come back when this is finished and I'll show you the results for this one. Cool. So you can see we have the image here. And when we hover over it, it has that kind of gray and white checkered background, which means it's a PNG. And it looks quite good, but it feels like something's missing. So I'm going to say, now make it a plushie with thick stitching and make it 3D. So now you can add a little bit more depth. You can make it a little bit cooler, more like modern web design or like a modern web asset, basically. It's not too often these days that you see like kind of like a 2D thing like that. It seems like there's a lot of 3D animations, moving parts. So this will definitely allow you to do that with just kind of this sort of prompting. And of course, you don't have to make it a plushie with stitching. You've seen examples like I already showed you the Ghibli, the Pixar, and the Rick and Morty. And there's like the action figures. There's there's a ton of stuff. Okay, cool. So this actually looks quite good. You can see the leather texture looks very good. It has super thick stitching, just like I asked for, and it's obviously 3D. So sweet, man. Yeah, looks awesome. Is there anything else on the list I haven't covered yet? I guess let me just talk about these use cases right here. So yeah, it's great at creating memes for trending social media posts, logos, ad mockups, and branded merch previews, generate infographics and educational visuals, creating personalized GIFs, birthday cards, and stuff. So using the kind of skills that we've talked about in the core capabilities, you will have the ability to do all these creative use cases. For example, we've talked about prompting, being more specific, and being detail-oriented with your descriptions. So for creating a meme, right, it might be something like, like this. You could have like, you know what I mean? You could give me a classic vertical format, split down the middle. You could have image 1 up here, and then you could have like image 2 down here, split down the middle, image 1, image 2. For these ad previews, you can take the reference images that I showed you in the core capabilities, and you can give it the reference image, ref, and then transform that into an ad mockup with brand, logo, etc. Right? So by knowing these core capabilities, then you can just let your brain go crazy. I would even ask ChatGPT, what are some fun use cases that I can practice my prompting skills, practice like just interacting with this model in general, and then you'll get some very, very cool ones. So guys, that's going to be the end of the video here. If you've made it to the end, pat on the back. Thank you for watching all the way through, seriously. And I hope you learned something in this video. Prompting, image generation, these skills and these workflows aren't going away anytime soon. They're just going to get more relevant. So the sooner you can wrap your head around it and start using it in your daily workflows, the better. So as I said, I hope you've learned something, guys, and we'll catch you in the next video. Take care.